So yesterday on the show, we ended up talking about the Fantastic Four and the mid, as labeled mid, test screenings that went on for the film, and we got into the nitty-gritty about where Marvel is going as a studio, where Marvel is going as a franchise. And I have to admit that for the most part, Marvel doesn't interest me as much as characters at DC do, as has always been the case. I've been following Superman in the run-up to the release of the film pretty closely, and I'd like to think that for the most part, I'm actually pretty excited about it. I found this first trailer to be much better than the teaser that they released prior to that. But now the question comes into play, which is everybody talking about what a movie like this needs to make at the box office if it wants to make money and be profitable, because the only way to really know whether a character is going to continue on screen is whether the business minds over at the studios deem it to be so. So we got a couple articles here, one from Cosmic Book News, and then they're pulling from this article from The Wrap where they're giving what they believe to be the budget for the film. So let's get into it. So it says, this is from Matt McGloin over at Cosmic Book News. We get some potential insights into James Gunn's Superman with the budget, break-even number, and success threshold possibly revealed. Before we dive in, while it was previously reported that the Superman budget was an exorbitant $363 million, which was said to be listed on an official Cleveland tax document, Gunn shot that down as incorrect. Yeah, James Gunn is he's very active on X, and he interacts with the audience a lot, with his audience a lot, which, depending on the day can be great, and on other days can be bad. I lean to the idea that he should probably be on X less and interact less. I just saw this thing where Michael B. Jordan said that Denzel Washington, now I understand that one's an actor and one's a director, but he said that Denzel Washington told him, he said, basically to get offline, because if you're online too much, if they see you 7 days a week, why would they spend money to come see you on Saturday at the movie theater? Which is just, I read that in the Denzel Washington voice and it just comes across as sage advice, which I love. But James Gunn kind of falls into the same category because this movie is being marketed on him and not just on David Cornsweet and the character of Superman. It's James Gunn's legacy, James Gunn's reputation that's carrying the marketing for this film. So a new report from The Wrap possibly reveals that the Superman budget is what the budget is, and he brings it back down to earth from that $363 million. The site claims that the budget is $225 million. So what's the break even? Well, the site claims anything north of $500 million would make the movie money. That's likely not exactly the case. Recently, it was reported that Captain America: Brave New World, with a reported budget of $180 million, had a break-even point of $425 million. If Superman's budget is $225 million, the break-even number would be around $530 million. So really anything above $530 million is what makes James Gunn's Superman, which makes Gunn's Man of Steel movie profitable. So what is the success threshold? The site adds that the Superman would be considered a success if it hits at least $700 million. However, the article spins it as Gunn's Superman needing to hit $700 million in the court of public opinion, which obviously depends on whose point of view you're taking. It also includes a quote calling Superman, quote, an Eisenhower-era character. While that might fit in some ways, it's still subjective. Superman was created in 1938 and has evolved significantly over the decades. Regardless, is that $700 million even accurate? Does James Gunn's Superman need to hit $1 billion to be considered a success? A $700 million movie would definitely go a long way in making Superman a win for Gunn, but fan reaction will also matter. Will the audience be split with the Man of Steel? Back in 2013, Man of Steel made $670 million, roughly $670 million, adjusted for inflation. That's nearly $1 billion today at $922 million. It's safe to say that both DC and Marvel would kill for those numbers now. So what happened? I was told that Warner Brothers wanted Man of Steel to hit $1 billion. It also said that they were chasing Marvel's success at the time, so instead of moving forward with Man of Steel 2 in a separate movie titled The Batman, they combined them both together with Ben Affleck as an older Batman. It made Batman vs. Superman. We all know how that turned out. This is why James Gunn's Superman should be treated like Batman Begins or Iron Man. Well, that's, even before I read that, I'm not shy in saying that I think Batman Begins is my favorite movie in the Nolan trilogy. I love that movie in every way, shape, or form. I think it's the depiction of the Narrows in the orange hue and what they did with Crane's toxin made it feel far more like an actual comic book movie rather than the crime thriller of The Dark Knight. Even if I do believe that the themes and everything explored in The Dark Knight is a superior film, I think that for me personally, acknowledging one to be perhaps the better film and one to be the film that you prefer, is that I prefer Batman Begins. You say, assuming James Gunn's Superman is good, which I'm hoping for, that even if it's not a huge box office hit, I'm hoping they recognize it as the start of something. Look at Batman Begins. It made $375 million in 2005, but by Warner Brothers' previous standards, they probably would have canceled it right then, but they didn't, and then Nolan went on to make The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, which both made over $1 billion. Yes, 2005 was a different time. It was a different era. I believe at that time they were also working on Superman Returns, which was obviously, we weren't dealing with connected universes at the time. And financially speaking, Warner Brothers was, I mean, I can't say for certain, but I'm guessing Warner Brothers was not in the predicament that they are in now with everything going on. Look at what they just did. They just rebranded HBO Max to Max. Now it's back to HBO Max, and things are bleeding, and I don't know how it's all going to turn out, but they're, they sell off properties, they cancel projects, and all that stuff. They need a win. And given the fact that superhero movies in general for them haven't been the success they needed them to be. What's funny about it is by today's financial standards, it is true that Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel were financial successes. But the problem is they weren't the financial successes they needed to be given the court of public opinion on that. Now, I actually like Batman vs. Superman, the extended cut, quite a bit, and I enjoyed at that time. I was just kind of sick with the way that Marvel was so tongue-in-cheek and campy with the way that they told their stories, that everything had that same dry tone of generic humor. I appreciated a film series that took itself seriously, even if some people believe that that serious tone took it too far and strayed away from what the characters actually represented. Look, I can't say for certain, but I do know that the public soured on Batman vs. Superman pretty quickly afterwards, and it's not held in the same high regard as the Nolan trilogy. But I would like to see them give Gunn the opportunity to kind of stick with it and do this. And that should be he should have a mandate in that respect, given the fact that he's in charge of the studio. But is he going to be stretched too thin? I don't know. I do think that they're making a mistake here with David Corenswet not being more of the focus of the marketing. I understand why, at least mentally, why they're putting James Gunn at the forefront of this. He's a known quantity. He's somebody who has returned he's given a strong return on investment to the people who have given him money to make movies. Suicide Squad, his Suicide Squad notwithstanding, at Marvel, he was a known quantity, giving them strong return on investment with every movie. So marketing the movie around him makes sense in theory, but he was working with a franchise of characters that on its outset did not have the name recognition that a Superman has, and a character like Superman needs to be embodied by a lead actor who can really make people believe that that's who he is. And I think that David Corenswet, there's been press that's come out recently. They were showing some videos of him. He was greeting a bunch of kids, and they were excited to see Superman. They showed his workout routine and all this stuff. And the guy's legit. The guy seems to be a fan of the culture. The guy isn't somebody who's just there to take a paycheck. So why not lean into that? I feel like if the potential audience feels your support and your trust in his portrayal of the character, that will translate to dollars on screen, but because that's the type of thing that can't be faked. You can't fake that type of natural trust you have in an actor that you know is going to deliver. They have that at Marvel. They had that at Marvel with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. Even if you put him in the most mid movie, they trusted his characterization and his charisma to carry you forward. Now, obviously, David Corenswet is in many ways, shape, and form an unknown quantity. I think the only thing I've seen him in is Twisters. He played that guy who everybody wanted to punch in Twisters. So, but this is the bed you made. This is the actor you chose, and go forward, put your faith in the actor. And if you're going to get to that number, I do think they need to make over $700 million, given that the Batman made $700 something million on a movie that was ridiculously long. at 2 hours and 51 minutes, and wasn't really a movie that I liked it fine at the time, but any movie that long, it's just not it for me. And now they're waiting for that sequel to get made. But with the flops that you've had with Aquaman 2, with The Flash, with everything, wiping the kind of stink off from the last few years of this kind of hobbled together, not so connected universe around Zack Snyder with James Gunn as he took over, you have a lot to live up to. You have a lot to accomplish. So it's not hard to believe that people believe that you need this movie to make at least $700 million to be a positive investment for future movies. So let me know down below, guys, with that budget. First of all, do you buy the $225 million budget? I do. That seems right in line, and I 100% believe that. And I do think that I do believe that $530 million, even if it was financially a success, I don't think you need that number. You can't make less than Man of Steel and call that a success. You need to make more. You need to make in the $700 to $800 million range if you want people to really buy into this character continuing onwards. But let me know down below, guys. What are you more excited for? Are you more excited for Superman? Are you more excited for Fantastic Four? Or are you like me? Are you going to be the hipster of the group? Are you more excited for Jurassic World? So let me know down below, guys. If you don't know what the podcast is, we are Pop Culture Crisis. It is Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. You should come hang out with us. See you there. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.